He was born with the funny, and it's gotten him quite a lot of money. Let's find out how Eddie spends his well-earned cash. Eddie Murphy was born in Brooklyn, New York, where he was born on April 3, 1961. His mother Lillian was a telephone operator and his father was a transit police officer. He has one older brother named Charlie. When Eddie was 3 years old, his parents split up, leaving him to be raised by his single mother and older brother. When he turned 8, his father passed away. Supposedly, he was murdered in a time of passion, stabbed by a woman who wouldn't let him belong to anyone else. Eddie didn't remember very much about his father because he was so young. His mom fell ill the same year and he was transferred into foster care for a year. When he got back, he lived with his mom and stepfather, Vernon Lynch. He idolized comedians like Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby, and Red Fox, drawing inspiration from their routines and honing his own comedic voice from a young age. When he was 15, he listened to a Richard Pryor comedy album and decided he wanted to be a comedian too. Murphy took his first steps into the world of stand-up comedy, performing at local clubs and talent shows in New York City when he was just 19. On July 9, 1976, he performed at the Roosevelt Youth Center, doing an impression of Al Green. His success from that show got him gigs in and around the city, and he slowly started skipping school to do shows. Murphy's big break came when he was cast as a featured player on Saturday Night Live, SNL, in 1980, at the age of 19. Joining the cast of the iconic sketch comedy show catapulted Murphy to national fame and introduced him to a wider audience. His memorable characters, including Gumby, Mr. Robinson, and Buckwheat, became instant classics. SNL credits him for revitalizing the show because their ratings were steadily dropping the year before. He released his first stand-up specials in the 1980s. The special Delirious got a full-on theatrical release and grossed $50 million at the box office. Following his breakout success on SNL and his comedy specials, Murphy transitioned to the big screen, making his film debut in the action comedy 48 Hours. This marked the beginning of his professional acting career. Murphy's career continued to soar with a string of hit films throughout the 1980s and 90s, including Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, and Coming to America. Within these 2 decades, he became one of the highest-grossing comedians ever known. Despite his immense success, Murphy faced criticism and controversy throughout his career, particularly for his use of language and portrayal of certain characters. Eddie doesn't have the typical sit-down and laugh about relatable silly things kind of comedy. His inspirations for his comedy often used slurs, stereotypes, and profane language. This made it difficult for him to achieve more mainstream success because his comedy wasn't so PG. Throughout his career, he would do comedic impersonations of exaggerated Italian-American people, African-American people, women, and gay people, and this got him into a bit of hot water from critics. Despite all this, even if people thought he was a little crass at times, we had to admit that the man was funny. In 1984, he won a Grammy for his comedy album, Eddie Murphy Comedian. He was approaching the peak of his career before tragedy struck. Unfortunately, despite all of the success he was seeing in his career, the critics were getting to him, and it was affecting his career in Hollywood. All of the films he worked on in the first 5 years either tanked or broke even. Although some people like Beverly Hills Cop 3 and Boomerang were hardly doing well enough to bring him back to the same level of success he was before 1990. During this period, he criticized people like Spike Lee for not using his power in Hollywood to help black actors break into the business. So, Eddie went ahead and did it himself. He worked on the film Harlem Nights in 1989 with his brother Charlie. He produced, directed, and starred in the film himself. By creating his own films, he could take control of the people he gives the opportunity to showcase their talent. Most of Eddie's films during this time had a mostly or entirely black cast, and he often cast black actors with few or no credits to be in his films. These actors would go on to find success in the Hollywood industry, because Eddie gave them a chance to break in and show Hollywood what they've got. His films became popular, and his career began a rapid rise back into prominence. Here are some actors we can give Eddie credit for bringing into the spotlight: Halle Berry, Martin Lawrence when he was cast in Boomerang, Samuel L. Jackson and Cuba Gooding Jr. in Coming to America, Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock. These actors owe the success they have partly to Eddie. Considering the critic-led controversy of his comedy being too raunchy, Eddie entered a more PG era of his comedy, marketing himself towards the mainstream. Starting with The Nutty Professor, he went on to play Mushu in Mulan, Donkey in the Shrek films, and Dad in Daddy Daycare. During the early 2000s, a lot of his comedy was exaggerated performative comedy directed at children, funny impressions, and a funny voice. Because of how popular and well done these roles were, they soon became what he was known for. His films with a more adult demographic performed moderately at the box office, with some making massive losses. If you're interested in the glamorous lives of the Black Hollywood stars who graced our TV screens, click the subscribe button and notification bell to stay updated on the inner lives of the legends of Black Hollywood. In 2006, he took on a slightly more serious role, although he did add his special sprinkle of comedy over the performance. He played Thunder in Dreamgirls 2006, and it won him a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor. He also won a couple more awards, and he was starting to get some Academy buzz for the role. However, he lost the Oscar to Alan Aiken and walked out when he realized it wasn't his name that was called. People speculate that he lost the award because of his performance in a different film, Norbit. In recent years, Murphy has made a triumphant return to the spotlight, starring in Dolomite Is My Name, 2019, a biographical film about the comedian and filmmaker Rudy Ray Moore. Murphy's performance as Moore earned him widespread praise and reignited interest in his career. The movie has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and many critics credit him for giving the film its energy and soul. Eddie Murphy has amassed a net worth of $200 million over the course of his career. He was paid $3 million for his role in Shrek and used to charge $4,500 for each episode on SNL, although he would probably charge more now. When he was paid $10 million for the Shrek sequel, he became the highest-paid voice actor in Hollywood. In the 80s, he bought a Beverly Hills home from Cher. The opulent home is built in the architectural style of a classic 90s Beverly Hills home. It has 11 bedrooms and 17 bathrooms, as if people need to go that bad. And the entire property is spread over 32,000 square feet. The home has 5 stables, a hiking track, and white graveled horse rings. Along with all of the regular leisures of a luxury home such as a gym, cinema, and arcade room, it also has a private tennis court and swimming pool. There are plenty of rumors about the cost of the home. However, the realtor who sold it claims the home is currently valued at $85 million. However, he sold the property at a loss of $4 million in 1995. From 1998 to 2007, he owned a mansion in Sacramento. His main house, not including any other parts of the home, is 12,600 square feet. The home is glamorous and almost overly luxurious. Designed as a luxury home fit to be run like a hotel. It has 10 suites and 14 bathrooms. The garage can fit up to 9 cars, and the home has a personal gym and an arcade and theater. The swimming pool is probably large enough to accommodate an elementary school swim meet. However wonderful it is, he chose to sell the home for $10 million in 2007. Eddie happens to have a pretty elaborate car collection featuring all the sports cars a boy could ever ask for. He has a Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG, a luxury supercar. This is the car he's most often sported in as he uses it on a daily basis. The car goes for nearly $200,000. He also owns an Aston Martin DB9. Aston Martin ended the production of this car in 2015, making it one of its kind. It is objectively considered a supercar, but that doesn't stop Eddie from using it for small errands. When it was sold, the car went for around $1.1 million. Yes, Eddie Murphy does coffee runs with his girlfriend in a $1 million car. Also a part of his collection is a Rolls-Royce and a Ferrari 599 GTB Fiorano. Murphy first got married in 1993 to Nicole Mitchell. They met at the NAACP Awards in 1988 and started dating soon after. While they were dating, Eddie had 2 children, with 2 other women, in close succession. He moved in with Nicole in 1991, and they got married in 1993. Over the course of 12 years, they had 5 children together, bringing Murphy's total number of children to 7. During their marriage, he was stopped by police on May 2, 1997, around 4 in the morning. It was discovered that he had a prostitute with him named Atisoni. His lawyer and publicist both claimed that he never intended to pay her and was just giving her a ride home. He was not charged. His wife filed for divorce in 2005. In 2006, he started dating Spice Girl Mel B, Melanie Brown, and she became pregnant. Murphy denied that the child was his, however, blood tests later proved him incorrect. He has not sought a relationship with his daughter yet. In 2012, he started dating Paige Butcher and had a daughter with her in 2016 and a son in 2018. Eddie has only been legally married once and has 10 children. Since then, he hasn't made his dating life public. His mother was always a devout Catholic and had him baptized when he was a baby. Eddie doesn't describe himself as religious and is often quite critical of organized religion and the people who follow it. He instead described himself in a Rolling Stone interview as a person with Christian-based values, meaning that he has the same fundamental values as a Christian, but wouldn't engage with the more organized aspects of the religion. Click on this next video to learn more about the lives of your favorite Black Hollywood stars. What's your favorite Eddie Murphy film? Comment down below.